This week on Talking Heads. Where did you go to school? What was your favourite subject? What was your least favourite subject? Talking Heads.
I went to high school at Novato High School, which is for the town of Novato in Northern California, about 30 minutes north of San Francisco.
I went to high school at a place called Homewood-Flossmoor High School because I'm from Homewood, and the other city right next to it is Flossmoor. So we shared, the high school actually was provided for both of those villages.
I went to two separate schools. I went to a primary school called Newmont School in Madrid, but it was a British primary school. And then when the primary school finished, I had to move on to a secondary school, and that one was British as well, and it was called Runnymede College.
I went to school in a town in Derbyshire called Bakewell, and the school was called Lady Manners School.
I went to school in Exeter, in a local secondary school called St Thomas High School.
I went to school firstly in Scotland, because I grew up in Edinburgh. I went to primary school in Scotland and did about half a year of high school, and then I moved down to Hertfordshire, in Harpenden, Hertfordshire, and I went to high school there.
My parents took me to a convent. I started off in a convent, and I can remember standing outside the Mother Superior's office saying, "Wow, they all look like Batman."
I went to school in Stoke-on-Trent, and the name of my school was Moorside High School.
I went to two different high schools. In California, Pacific High School. It's in San Bernardino, California. I also went to Logan High School in Utah for my final year.
I went to West Milford High School in New Jersey.
I actually went to a private boarding school in England.
I went to school in Dover Heights Girls High School when I was in Australia, and then I was in a private school here in Spain.
Boarding school is a school where you stay there all day, you sleep there at night. If you want to, you can stay there at the weekends, and you only go home on the holidays.
I went to a nuns school, a convent school, and that was hard, but it was good because I made good friends, girlfriends.
Then I went to a public school. From there I went to a medical school that was pre-med to actually get my entrance exam for medical school, which I failed horribly.
I studied Spanish, started in junior high, throughout high school, and then when I went to university I realized that I liked it so much that I thought I would just continue, and I chose it as a major. So I always knew I would major in Spanish along with something else. So Spanish was a given. And then I chose history actually as the other major.
I then went to university to study. I studied marketing, sales, business studies, and then just went out and got a job.
I went to school at the University of Kansas in Lawrence, Kansas.
I studied at a small private liberal arts college in Southern Virginia called Washington and Lee University.
I studied in New Jersey actually at Montclair University. I got a Bachelor in Fine Arts over there.
I studied history, but I also studied a variety of subjects, but I majored in history.
At the age of 17, I went and studied in England. I did a BA in England and a master's BA in Portsmouth in England, and then I stayed in England for 2 more years in London, and I did a master's there.
My favorite subject in school was always literature, writing, letters, I suppose. Because in math I was always a disaster, always behind everybody else, so anything involving language was my thing.
My favorite subject at school was probably Spanish. I started late. I started when I was in 7th grade, but I really loved learning Spanish. It was actually a lot of fun.
My favorite subject in school was physics and calculus, math and science.
My favourite subject at school was music,
art and photography. Spanish literature.
Music.
Geography.
The subjects that interested me more than anything else were humanities, human studies, sociology, art, physio, all of that kind of thing, which is absolutely not what my parents wanted me to do. So it was a little bit of a, as the Spanish say, chocante.
I liked music, theatre and English.
My favourite subject at school was drama. Drama was my favourite subject.
My favourite subjects at school were maths,
English and science.
History and physics.
I always liked the creative subjects like filmmaking, photography, things like that, you know, things where you could kind of express yourself a bit.
I find that maths and physics are two really easy subjects. They make sense to me.
The worst, math. I hate it. I really do. Yeah, math is definitely the worst.
Maths.
Physics.
My least favorite subject was mathematics in general, but specifically advanced algebra,
Mathematics was the worst one.
math analysis, and calculus.
My least favorite subject, that's very easy, mathematics.
My least favourite subject was maths or science. I didn't like either.
I don't like math at all. I'm not a numbers person.
I didn't like sports.
I didn't like math or science.
My least favourite subject was actually chemistry. I couldn't understand all the formulas.
My least favourite subject was French. I hated French at school.
English wasn't top of my list, and I hated French.
My least favourite subject was probably mathematics.
English, actually. At the time, they made us read Jane Eyre, so I didn't really like that.
I did like mathematics, but it just wasn't my strong point.
It changed in the middle of my high school years. I had a different teacher, different material, and then I actually enjoyed English quite a bit, but the first couple of years were pretty rough.